Hello, everyone. Welcome in. This is the Mapping Out Your UCEAP application webinar. I'll let a couple more people come in before we get started, but this webinar will be recorded and posted to the UCEAP website. So for any reason you need to leave early, or if you want to rewatch the webinar later, you can do so. And I'll be answering questions in the Q&A after the formal presentation ends. So if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat, but I won't get to them until afterwards. All right, I think we can get started now. Let me just make sure you guys can all hear me okay. Sometimes my headset is a little weird. My name is Samantha. I'm a study abroad advisor with UCEAP, and I'll be going through the webinar with everyone today. So here's the agenda of items that we're going to go over. Some general UCEAP application information, the documents you'll need for your application, the UCEAP application process, and just an overview about how it works, the contacts that you can reach out to if you have any questions, and then common frequently asked questions, or FAQs, at the very end. And we'll, again, like I said in the beginning, for anyone who just joined, we will have Q&A time at the end, so you can ask any questions, but we'll be going through the presentation first, and then I'll answer any questions at the very end. So some general information about UCEAP. Applications for each term open on the same day. However, application deadlines vary by program. And I'll show you the application open dates and deadlines page later in the presentation. Programs are open for applications until filled or until the application deadline, whichever comes first. UCEAP reviews applications on a first-come, first-served basis, so submitting an application earlier always gives you a better chance at receiving a spot in the program. As long as there is space available and you meet all program eligibility, all requirements, and deadlines, you should be cleared to participate. Most requirements must be met by the time you apply and have to be maintained throughout the application process. And I'll go over how to determine your eligibility on the next slide. So to determine your eligibility for a program, you'll need to find the program page on the UCEAP website. You can do this by navigating to the Find a Program search tool, which is on the upper right-hand corner of the main page. Each program will list its general eligibility requirements on its title page, and for more detailed descriptions of the eligibility and possible prerequisites, you can click on the program page, go to the Dates and Eligibility tab, and click on the term you wish to apply for. So you can see this example here for Aarhus University in Denmark. This is what the program page looks like on the main page in the Find a Program search tool, which is this far left screenshot. The middle page is if you go to the program page, you can see this program details section. You click on Dates and Eligibility. And then the far right screenshot is when you are in that Dates and Eligibility tab, you can go down to the terms for the program that are available and open it to see more prerequisites or eligibility requirements. And then, yeah, that page will tell you if there's any eligible majors, any course prerequisites, or language requirements, if applicable for the program. Some of the documents that you'll need for your application. All UCEAP programs require students to upload an unofficial UC transcript in their application. If you're a transfer student or have any community college transcripts, you will also need to upload those as well. Some programs have additional application materials that are required, such as proof of meeting the language requirement, a statement of purpose, or a course preference form. Each program has its own application instructions that you can access through the UCEAP portal. So if you make an account now in the UCEAP portal, you should be able to look up the program you're interested in and see the application requirements. So for example, this is what you'll see in the UCEAP application portal. and I'm using Australian National University as an example. If you can see detailed application instructions, requirements, and advisories for the program you're applying to in this first section, in the first tab of the application. I encourage students to make sure to read everything in this section before moving on to complete the rest of the application. There will be a lot of good advisories about what to expect, especially about passport information. If a program requires you to have a passport by a certain deadline, it will be listed here. And like I said before, you can make a UCEAP account now and view the application requirements for a program before the application is open. Some notes about unofficial UC transcripts. To find your unofficial transcript, you can visit your UC registrar's website. At some UCs, you can request an unofficial transcript. At others, you can download a PDF of your student record or academic summary. Regardless of how you obtain your unofficial transcript, the transcript needs to include your full name, your UC campus, your cumulative UC GPA, and your most recent grades. And a quick note for UC Irvine and UC Merced students. Sometimes the Irvine and Merced registrars don't include your UC campus name on your unofficial transcript. Make sure that when you save the transcript to a PDF format, the name of your school or the URL in which the PDF is coming from and your name are visible somewhere on the transcript so we know it's yours and it comes from a UC campus. For Irvine students, you can view your transcript in Student Access and click on the printer-friendly view to print your transcript to PDF with your name on it. And a few quick notes, important notes for unofficial transcripts. Please upload your transcript in a PDF. It's the easiest way for UCEAP staff to view your document. In most cases, a screenshot of your grades or academic summary is not acceptable. Sometimes students look up the wrong document and end up submitting a degree audit report or an academic progress report instead of a transcript. These documents might show your progress towards degree requirements, but they are not the same as a transcript, and UCEAP cannot accept them. UCEAP needs your full transcript in one continuous document, not just the first page and not in multiple separate uploads. So please make sure to upload your full, complete, unofficial UC transcript in your UCEAP application. And this is very important if your application is submitted on time but is incomplete, say like you uploaded an incorrect document, it may be passed over in favor of complete applications. So verify the documents you are uploading are complete and correct before submitting your application. For passport information, UCEAP applicants are not required to have a passport at the time of the application. However, if you don't have a passport now, you need to apply for one as soon as possible. Typically, your passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months after the end of your program. So if you need to renew your passport, get started on that as soon as possible. And that 6-month advisory is typical for a program, but there are some countries or programs that require your passport to be valid longer than that, and that will be included in the application instructions. If you're applying right before the application deadline and you don't have a valid passport, check in with the program specialist for the program to confirm you will still be on track to participate. The program might have additional passport advisories or deadlines in the application requirements that you can refer to. Once you select a program and confirm that you meet all the eligibility requirements, you can look up the application open dates and deadlines so that you know when to apply. Keep in mind that the application deadlines can be as early as 9 months before the program starts. Students generally need to complete 3 different applications: a UCEAP application, a campus application, and a host institution application. After you get approved for participation by both your campus and UCEAP, you'll receive instructions for the host institution application, along with other program details such as housing, visa requirements, and program dates. So this is an overview of how your application moves through the UCEAP system. Once you submit your application, you'll be in review. At that point, your UC campus and UCEAP staff will review and approve your application. After you've been approved by both your campus and UCEAP, you will be nominated. Depending on the program, your application will then need to be reviewed by a third-party provider or a host university of your program. A second application might be required during this step. If another application is required, UCEAP will provide detailed instructions on how to apply and what documents you might need. After the third party or host university has reviewed your application, you are officially accepted into the program. It's very, very rare that a UCEAP student is rejected from a third party or host university. We base our program eligibility requirements based off of what the host requires. So as long as you follow the instructions and submit a complete and correct application by the deadline, you should be officially accepted into the program. Some programs like this, the last bottom part here, don't require a third party or host university to review your application, in which case you'll be accepted after UCEAP and your UC campus approves. These are the application open dates for 25 and 26 programs, 27 programs. All UCEAP applications open at 9 a.m. Pacific time on the application open date. Winter and spring 2027 programs open next week, April 15th. And note that the Chile year-long program opens on April 15th because Chile is in the southern hemisphere and their academic year calendar runs from January to November. So these are the open dates. Again, 9 a.m. next week, April 15th, which is a Wednesday. All right, really quick, I'm going to share a different screen and show everyone the application deadlines page. All right, so this page of the UCEAP website is where you can find the application open dates and deadlines for the program you're interested in. And you can navigate there by, this is the home UCEAP page. So if you just look up UCEAP in Google, this is what you'll find. If you go to apply and application deadlines, you'll be shown here, which has some information about applications, same advisory about them opening at 9 a.m. Pacific time, clicking on the program to see the eligibility criteria. And if you scroll down to the term-specific deadlines, you can see when applications open for each term. And if you open one of these drop-down menus, you'll see the application deadlines for each of the programs. So you'll see that a lot of the Australia programs have deadlines in August. You can scroll down more to see by each program. If there is an asterisk by the application deadline date, that means that the program filled before the deadline last year. So if you're interested in a program that has this asterisk, I would highly encourage you to apply as soon as you can, maybe even the day applications open. There are a few programs that do fill up very quickly, like within the first week of applications opening. There are some programs that don't. So for example, University of Melbourne, it could have filled any time before the 13th last year. So that means sometime in June, July, could be the week after applications open, anything like that. If you check back here over the course of when applications are opening, so say you come back here in May, some of these programs might be filled, and under where it says application deadline, the word full will appear if the program is full. If it's not full, the date will still be listed there, and if it's before the application deadline, you can still apply for the program. And this page should be updated sometime either in the summer or very early fall for the next cycle of applications. So for example, if you're interested in going to a fall semester program in 2027, so not this upcoming fall, but next year, this page should be updated sometime later this year or in the summer for fall 27, 28 applications. All right, now we're going to go on to contacts. So at any point of the application process, if you're confused about an application or your eligibility for a program, this is who you'll contact. You can contact UCEAP staff for any UCEAP specific application questions. So like anything like language GPA, regular GPA, major eligibility, or any course prerequisites. You can also contact us for any UCEAP application portal issues, so IT issues. So for whatever reason, you can't open an application or you can't submit it. It might be that the program is either full or not accepting applications. It also might be a portal issue. you can always reach out to us and ask for clarification. You can contact your campus staff on your home UC campus with questions about your UC campus requirements, your campus portal and systems, and your academic planning form, if your campus requires this. A variety of campuses require this academic planning form in your campus application, and you would contact them for that. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you where you can find all this contact info. So on the UCEAP website, if you go to the About UCEAP page under the Discover tab on the top left, so like when I was showing the application deadlines page, if you go to Discover, you should be redirected here. And you can click on UCEAP contacts or UC campus contacts to find the email address of the staff that you wish to speak to. The UCEAP contacts are split up by program or by country, and then the UC campus contacts are split up by campus. So like you see here, the programs are split, or the UCEAP staff are split by program and by country. So you can also go to the program page of any program that you're interested in and find the contacts for UCEAP staff there. So you would navigate to the program, click on the Contacts tab on the bottom left of the program details list to see the study abroad advisor, the academic specialist, the program specialist, and the finance accountant for that specific program. If you don't know who to contact for your program, or you have a lot of questions and you just want to ask one person instead of sending like 5 different emails, you can always email the UCEAP Study Abroad Advisor first, and then they can either answer your question or redirect you to someone who can. All right, a couple of frequently asked questions that we receive about applications. UCEAP tries to notify students within a month of their application submission, so keep an eye on your email in case your application was incomplete and you need to correct something. And this is based on the rolling basis, so we will be continuously reviewing applications until the program is full. If you change your mind after you submit an application, you can contact your UCEAP Study Abroad Advisor and Program Specialist to discuss withdrawing your application or transferring your application to a different program. Please keep in mind that UCEAP staff can only transfer applications to a program that are still accepting applications. So if the program you wish to transfer to has already filled or the application deadline has passed, UCEAP can't transfer your application there. For students who ask about applying to multiple terms, students are only allowed to apply to one program per term. So you do your research to make sure the program you're applying to fits your study abroad goals. Most universities are on the semester system, and if you are on a quarter system campus, you may miss both winter and spring quarter if you apply to a spring semester program. And you can always check the Dates and Eligibility tab on the program page to confirm the estimated time frame of the program that you're applying to. So for example, if a program is a spring semester and says it runs from February to July, then you would miss both winter and spring quarter while you're on this program. For back-to-back program options, check in with the program specialist if you're interested in that. The logistics of this depend on the 2 programs you're applying to and cannot always be accommodated based on the different countries or programs that you're applying with. UCEAP does not have an application fee. However, some campuses do have fees associated with applying to study abroad. So you won't have to pay for the UCEAP application. You can check in with your campus staff to see if it's required there. I'm not going to play this video, but this is a quick application walkthrough on our YouTube channel if you want to walk through about the application portal. So it'll show you what the application looks like, what information you'll need to fill out, and where to upload things like your transcript. And I can post this link in the chat later during the Q&A. And that kind of concludes the formal presentation. So I hope it's given you a starting point for where to start with your application, how to determine your eligibility, and what information you might need before applying. We do offer a lot of virtual advising, and you can schedule an appointment with the UCEAP Study Abroad Advisor, either a one-on-one appointment, or you can come to our drop-in hours and just ask a general quick question if you have any, and you can use this QR code to make an appointment. And once you've determined which program you're applying to, You can start an application by selecting the Apply Now button on the UCEAP website. And so you'll be prompted to make an account, and that's where you'll submit the application. You won't be able to submit it until applications open. So again, if you're applying for a spring 2027 program, those will open next Wednesday at 9 a.m. And you are free to contact us if you have any questions. Our general email is on this slide, and if you want to include what program you're interested in, they'll be directed to the correct program staff. So if you have any questions in the Q&A, please feel free to put them there, and I can answer them live. So I have someone say that if they're not able to find their unofficial transcript for the school, will an unofficial one also work? Yes, it will. You don't have to get an official one if you don't want to. An unofficial one works just fine. But if you can't find it, or you already have an official transcript that you want to use, feel free to do so. It does need to be your most recent transcript. So sometimes students will use a transcript that they've had for a year or so, and it's a year old, and that's something that can't be accepted, and we'll ask you to re-upload a new transcript that has your most recent grades on it. Another question, where should I ask or get advising on classes to take and to see which classes would fulfill what? So for UCEAP, any classes that you take on our programs will count for direct UC credit and appear on your UC transcript and count towards your UC GPA. If you want any of those classes to fulfill a specific requirement, so a major requirement or a GE, those will be petitioned through your academic advisor on your UC campus. So your major academic advisor or your department advisor would be the one to officially approve those. I recommend students look at the program they're interested in and try to find some course syllabi, either from the partner university or the program partner that operates in the area that you're going to, and give that syllabi or that course information to your academic advisor and ask them for their advice. So say that you're interested in a certain program, here are the classes that you're interested in, what kind of credit could I get for this? Another one, what sources of financial aid exist for study abroad? If you receive financial aid at your UC campus, it can be packaged for your study abroad program because we are UC affiliated. And if you have questions about the specific amount of aid you'll receive, you'll have to contact your UC campus financial aid office. But we also have UCEAP finance accountants that do the budgeting for these programs. So if you have questions about payment to UCEAP, you could ask them as well. Okay, do we need a letter of recommendation from a faculty member? It depends on the program. I would say the vast majority of programs don't require a letter of recommendation. Some might, and some might require that letter of recommendation in the host application. So once you've been nominated by UCEAP, if a host application is required where your information is sent directly to the host in the country that you're going to, they might require a letter of recommendation, but we will include that in the host application instructions. So you might need to plan for that, but also that information should be included in the application instructions in the UCEAP portal to prepare students for when that happens. So if you don't meet the GPA requirements now, but you plan on meeting them later, you can apply once your GPA meets the requirements for the program. The only thing I would consider is make sure to check if that program fills before the deadline and when the deadline is. If you apply and you don't meet the program eligibility requirements, you're not eligible for the program, and therefore we can't consider your application. But you could always reapply or just apply when you meet all the eligibility requirements. And once that happens, then you'll be in the queue again to get reviewed. And by then you should meet the eligibility requirements and then be nominated for the program if there's still space in the program. If you miss more than a quarter of classes due to this semester, will that affect your grades or your enrollment at your UC campus? I would check in with your UC campus study abroad office about that. They usually communicate directly with the registrar about students who are studying abroad, so they can keep track of who is in like an on-site UC student and who plans to study abroad and might not be on-site at the campus at that time. You could also ask the academic specialist for the program to see if anything that you've taken in the past will impact your eligibility for the program moving forward. One, how do we know which programs have two applications? Usually in the application requirements, it'll say something about a host university application. Others, sometimes universities change their processes in the middle of the year, and occasionally like we'll have a student or have a program that just needs an host institution application. But for the most part, that is planned well in advance, and it should be in your UCEAP application requirements and advisories and information about if a host university application is required. And again, once you're nominated by UCEAP, we'll give you instructions on how to do that host university application, so you won't be going in blind or not knowing anything. We'll tell you how to do it. If you're slightly under the minimum GPA requirements when you apply for the program, unfortunately, you're not eligible for the program. However, we do have over 160 different programs, so I'm sure that we could find something that would fit your goals and your study abroad goals and your academic interests. If you want to ask about a GPA waiver for a program, you can ask the program specialist. They're not always able to accommodate that. You can always ask though, and the worst thing that could happen is that they say no, and you'll have to reconsider your plans. But you can always ask and see what happens. Can we start an application before the 15th? You should be able to see the application requirements, but you might not be able to start it until applications open on the 15th. If you're having any IT trouble though, like a link isn't working or applications do open and you can't find something, like a widget isn't appearing in your application, please contact us so we can fix it as soon as possible. Oh yeah, when looking at end dates of the program, I would trust the approximate dates on the UCEAP website. A lot of host universities don't confirm their program dates as early as we are used to at the UC, so they confirm them much later, which is normal for them, but seems really irregular for us. You could ask the program specialist if they have a general idea of when the program might start or end. But again, because it's not confirmed and the exact date changes every year, they might not be able to give you an exact answer. But I know some spring programs do conflict with some internships. So you could always ask the program specialist for more information if they're able to provide it. If they're not able to provide it, then I would say go with your gut and trust your instincts and then the information that's on the UCEAP website. For programs that have internship options, you can contact the academic specialist for the program. The academic specialist will be the ones to receive your grades from the host institution and process them and then send them to your campus registrar. So if you're taking an internship or doing an internship for academic credit, they will still be the ones receiving that grade for the academic credit and inputting that class into your record. So you can contact them for any internship advising or what they advise students for like fields of study and classes they recommend. Do you apply on the UCEAP website or the Riverside Study Abroad website? Both. So you get to do two applications. On the UCEAP application, once you've submitted it, there should be something that pops up that either says Part 2, Part B, don't forget, or complete this next, something like that. And you'll be prompted to go to your campus study abroad website and submit your application there as well. So you'll submit two initial ones, one for UCEAP and one for your UC campus. The UCEAP application, the timestamp of that application is what we use to determine how programs fill on a first come, first served basis. So if you have any doubt on which application to do first, do the UCEAP one first. How often do we accommodate GPA waivers? It really depends. So it depends on the program. If the host university is open to it and able to accept it, and I think from what I know, it really depends on it's a case by case basis. So again, you can ask. You're not going to be punished for asking, but it really depends. I would explain your situation as detailed as you would like to anyone that you might be petitioning to or asking for the GPA waiver, and they can give you more information. And that would be the program specialist for the program that you're interested in. For programs that are taught in the language of the country, are there language requirements or tests that have to be done in the application? Yes, so usually there's either a language GPA or we'll ask students to upload some sort of language confirmation. So either something in your UC transcript to show that you've taken the appropriate amount of classes. If you've taken an AP class in that language, sometimes that can also be accepted, or IB. If you are a native speaker, usually there's some online test maybe that you could do. I know for some of the Chile programs, they allow that. And then typically at some point during the pre-departure process, so once you've been accepted into the program, there's usually some sort of preliminary test that will test students' language ability, and then they would put you in a category, which would let you take classes in that host university's host language. Again, for anything like that, you can also reach out to the program specialist for any of those like application requirements and see what is able, what you can submit to show that you've met that requirement for the program. Does a PDF of academic history count as an unofficial transcript? I'm trying to think. In my experience, I think if you're a Berkeley student and you use your Cal Central academic history, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's on your Cal Central, that works. You can ask too. If you want to ask the study abroad advisor, the program specialist, if the document you're looking at is actually a transcript, you can ask before the application's open. We can confirm if that's good or not. Anything that says degree audit or something with audit in the name is not something that we can accept. But usually other things that say academic history and it's an actual transcript, typically we can accept, but you can always check beforehand just to make sure. Is there anything else in the application that's required? Depends on the program. So all programs require the unofficial transcript. If there's anything else like a statement of purpose, a course preference form, a letter of recommendation, anything like that, that'll be outlined in the application instructions, which you can go see now. So if you make a UCEAP account, you can go and see the application and requirements and instructions for the program. For classes taken abroad, do they automatically satisfy GEs or have them satisfy the GEs that you want? So they don't automatically satisfy things. Some campuses or departments have pre-approved some courses to satisfy GEs or major requirements. So I would check in with your campus study abroad office and your major academic advisor or your department advisor to see if there's any courses in the program that you're choosing that have been pre-approved. If they haven't been pre-approved, then they likely have a petition process where you get all the course information, show them a syllabi or any course materials that you've worked with during the program while abroad, and you submit that as part of your petition to petition the class to count for a GE or any other graduation requirement, like a minor requirement or a major requirement. Are the UCEAP form and the campus-specific form the same? If the form that you're referring to is the application, they're different. So the UCEAP application is separate from the campus application. If you're referring to something called the academic planning form, that would be a campus requirement. Um, some campuses, their applications open earlier than UCEAP, some don't. You can always check the campus application portal in their website to see when their applications open as well. But in the UCEAP application, again, you'll be redirected once you've submitted the UCEAP application. There's a part in the application instructions that redirects students to make sure that they submit the campus application as well. What spring 2027 scholarships might still be available for applications? Great question. There are a lot available still, and if you go on the UCEAP website, I'm trying to think of what tab to go under. You can search up scholarships, and there's a scholarships page on the UCEAP website that lists all the scholarships that are available, and they'll have a link to the scholarship portal, and you'll be able to go there and see when the scholarship applications open for spring 2027. But there's a lot available. A lot of them are usually available for multiple terms. The scholarships available for multiple terms. Some scholarships are specific. They have specific requirements, such as like the scholarship might only be available for Spain year-long students, in which it wouldn't apply to a spring student. But you can definitely check, and there should still be a good number available to apply to. For signing into the UCP website, why does it need a photo, and what is the UC student ID number? For the photo, you can leave it blank if you want to. A lot of students do that. I think it's just a way to identify your own personal account. The student ID number is the ID number that you have as a UC student. So it should be like on your UC ID card. Yeah, so it's the one that you use for your UC campus. And that's something that UCEAP staff and your UC campus staff use to identify you in the portal. Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing really quick. And so one of the questions, are spring 2027 scholarships open now? Let me check the website and see. It looks like spring applications for scholarships open August 15th. So that's when they'll open. So you can look at all the information now and see what's available to apply to, what the requirements are, like what you'll need to submit for the scholarship application. But for the spring scholarship applications, they won't open until August 15th. Is the academic planning form always required? It's usually required for any campus that requires it. So it might not be tied to a specific program. It'll be tied to the UC campus that you're a part of. So some UC campuses require the academic planning form, some don't, but that would be in the campus application. Would FAFSA also cover parts of study abroad? If you receive financial aid at your UC campus, then it can be packaged for your study abroad program. Can you try to get major or minor credits for the study abroad program you're applying to? Yes, you can. Any classes that you take, and if you want them to fulfill a major or minor requirement, you'll need to petition that through your academic advisor or your department advisor at your home UC campus. Saw there was a 1 to 2 page statement of purpose on the tutorial video, but I'm not seeing that online. Is that required for the application? For UCEAP, it depends on the program. So if the tutorial video is showing a sample application for a sample program, it might apply to that specific program, but it might not apply to all the programs. So again, make a UCEAP account, and you can look at the application requirements there. For any questions about petitioning major or minor requirements, you'll need to go to your home UC campus. Yeah, that's not something UCEAP approves or I approve. And the petition process varies by campus and by department. So you'll need to go ask your UC campus staff about that. If you're on the quarter system, will taking a full semester put you behind on your coursework? Probably depends on your major and what your academic plan looks like. So again, I would talk to your academic advisor, either your major advisor or your department advisor, to look at your plan, your academic plan and your graduation plan to see if there's any flexibility in your course schedule, or if you need to plan things accordingly to make room for a study abroad. What is a statement of purpose? For some programs, the statement of purpose is like an essay written by the student that explains why they are choosing that program and specifically what they intend to get out of it. Usually there's a prompting question, and if the program requires it, you'll need to write either a 1 to 2 page paper that explains why you're interested in the program and what you're hoping to get out of the program and how that applies to your academics or your personal goals. Again, that depends on the program. There's only a few programs that I can think of that do require that statement of purpose. Okay, I only have a couple minutes left. I'm going to try to just pick a few things. Again, if you have questions about academics, petitioning classes, I would talk to your campus academic advisor. It depends on the campus and your department on how they process petitions for study abroad courses. Any class that you take with UCEAP will be on your UC transcript and count towards your UC GPA. But if you want any of those classes to fulfill a graduation requirement, so a major or minor requirement, you have to go to your campus academic advisor. And sometimes they can approve things before you go on the program, and sometimes they cannot. So it really depends on what their process is like. So I'd go ask them. If you have questions about your financial aid package, I would go to your campus financial aid office. They typically use the UCEAP cost estimator to estimate your financial aid package for the program that you're going on. So it depends, each student is different, but they'll use that cost estimator to then calculate the specific amount of funds that you'll receive for financial aid on the program that you're going to. The cost estimator on the website is usually pretty accurate. I would say the finance accountants that we have at UCEAP, one, they do all the tuition estimating for the program, and then they also check conversion rates between the US dollar and then the other denominations that you might be going to in the country that you're going to. And they also base it off of cost of living in the area. So for example, a London program might say that you might be paying more for housing or meals while abroad, simply because London is like an expensive place to live versus another area of the world. But they're usually pretty accurate, and the finance accountants that do that kind of financial planning, they can be contacted via email if you go to the contacts page of the UCEAP website. And do you have to be a marketing major if the program is geared towards marketing? It depends if the program requires a major in marketing to apply to the program. So there's a couple of programs that might say in the program name that, like business in Tokyo or something like that. I don't know, we don't have a program like that. But if it said that, it might be geared towards business majors and might require some sort of business major on your transcript. There are other programs, for example, the Business and Economics program in Barcelona, that they don't require business and econ majors just to apply. Anyone could apply there. So it depends on the program, but you can figure out if it is required, if you go to the program page and the dates and eligibility tab in the program page there. For research programs, our institutions typically, are they particular about prior research experience? I know most of my answers have been it depends on the program, but it kind of does. So some programs, they don't require any prior research experience. If they do require any sort of prior experience, it would be something within that field of study. So it might not be that they require research experience, prior research experience, but they might require, say, some students have completed upper division courses in the specific field of study that they're looking at. Again, that should be detailed in the dates and eligibility tab of the program page. So you should be able to go there and open up the term and see if there's any specific eligibility requirements that you'll need. I know there's a couple of questions, but we are over time now. This is only until 4:45. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us or to the specific program staff, and we'll be sure to answer your questions. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing your application soon.